it up, but I'm gonna. Okay, welcome to Rivalry Week of the 2025 HFFL season. This is gonna be our second episode of kind of like a PTI like debate format with two guests. Uh, you know, the guests we have for this week are Alex Feigenbaum of the Madison Tunnel Snakes and Michael Diaz of the Harlem Scrapers. Uh, Thanks for being on, guys.
What's
Yeah, thanks.
PTI? I've never heard of it.
You
This is
never
a
heard of it?
fairly unique idea.
It's actually CTI, condone the interjection, because I didn't want to get I didn't want to just put up their logo, so I actually made a purple version of a PTI like, right? So, but just that's the inspiration for our format, and I thought last week was really good in terms of like, getting concise thoughts about um kind of interesting ideas around the league without having to like kind of examine everyone's team um, in a general sense. So, I came back with some new guests, some new topics. So hopefully, we have a good time with the questions I came up for this week. I'm just gonna jump into it right away. The first question or the first topic, I guess, is weeks 11 and 12 are the big extended rivalry matchup for the HFL. It's been a tradition for pretty much like the third or fourth year of the league. As soon as we broke into divisions, like, I thought it was good to have like one kind of fixed matchup. You would know when it is every week. And with the schedule extending, we saw it as a good chance to make this a 2 week matchup. So these are, the same week every year, as long as the same divisions exist. And being a 2 week matchup, it usually has a little different feel to all the other ones. So my question for you is, which rivalry matchup stands out as the spiciest? Alex, you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So I've got my eyes on Yonkers versus Williston Park for the rivalry week match. I think this one's pretty exciting because there's kind of a weird playoff structure we're in. There's not
Mm-hmm.
like a head-to-head match where it feels like both teams are kind of really in the mix for playoffs. And I think Yonkers Williston Park, it's two teams that I feel like are sort of like could easily be in the opposite spots if some of the matchup luck had just gone differently. Wilson Park has a really solid team this year, and I think they're 3-7, but like really could be easily be 5-5, 6-4.
Mm-hmm.
And I think after a couple of years where they've ended up, sort of in the 9-10 game and paying penalties at the end of the year, this is like a pretty good turnaround year for them.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a good crop of keepers for next year, and I think if they can kind of win this, cement themselves as out of that 9-10 game, finish the year without penalties, maybe even win consolation. It's like a pretty, more momentum than they've had in a while. And I think Yonkers is probably the team. If someone of the four that are in right now is going to slide out, I think Yonkers is the one I have my eye on. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
tough match this week and then a tough schedule all the way through. So I think this one really sets the tone for those two teams and how they're going to finish up.
Yeah. Mike?
Well, give me the chalk, the tradition unlike any other, Virginia and LIC.
Father
You got
son,
the
right?
personal grudge match aspect as always, but that didn't stop these two teams from making a deadline deal, which adds revenge games on top of that. Now you've got Warren with a chance to play spoiler, a role
Mm-hmm.
that he relishes in. And my favorite part, as someone who has rostered as many as 5 or 6 tight ends at a time, both managers here are deploying the double tight end strategy.
Mm.
So I'll be watching this one very closely.
Yeah, I think both of those are pretty good choices. Williston Park lost their week 9 matchup by like just 4 points. They've been in a bunch of pretty close ones too. And I think Alex has a really good point about how it's easy to think that they're having kind of a similar year to previous years, but they've actually been uh much better than their record, and I agree that they and Yonkers could easily have been flipped in the the standings. And Mike pointed out the Virginia LIC one. That one probably has the most like, outside of the fantasy aspect, ribbing back and forth. And lately, Virginia has certainly had more success. So, it definitely has a different feel to it than it started out as. It's kind of started out as like a father son thing, as they joked about. But the son has become the dominant person in the relationship now. So it'll be interesting to see if that continues. Um, okay, and then our next question. This one is a bit speculative, but I think pretty interesting anyway. So with while the Bijan Robinson trade of last week was immediately notable for the current year implications, obviously, probably one of the better win now pieces changing teams. So that was definitely pretty big. Um, but the Chaos Company's willingness to trade Odunze is rumored to be a signal that they could offer Drake May another 5-year keeper deal, the second of its kind in HFFL history after Justin Fields, who Mars was the team that gave him that too, right? So, if it does come to fruition and Drake May does get a 5-year keeper deal this offseason, um, is that a smart move that will pay off or a dangerous commitment that could backfire yet again? Mike, you want to go first this time?
Sure, guys, and I'll be very clear here. 5-year contracts in the HFFL are a mistake. Now, obviously, May has a very low salary, and giving him a 5-year contract would keep that salary low for a long time. But forget about what we learned from Justin Fields. Look at the NFL and ask yourself how many quarterbacks we have to watch week after week because they were given big fat contracts. John, do you want to have a repeat of the Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, the Dolphins and Tua, the Cardinals and Kyler, and lest we utter the name Deshaun Watson?
Mm.
Don't give out these giant contracts to quarterbacks. I know you are rostering Josh Allen and you see the positive benefits of it, but it doesn't work out. Believe me.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Alex?
I'm gonna take the other side here. I think Mars should go ahead and do the 5-year deal. Drake May's playing great. Salary is really solid, keeps that salary low. But more than anything, it saves Mars from themselves. Because when you
Mm.
look at that roster, there's not a lot to keep. And if you're not doing Drake May for 5 years, you've got 4 more spots to fill. And we've seen Mars in the past when they've got spots to fill. They're trading for Braylon Allen.
Braylon Allen.
They're bringing in who like looking around. They're gonna be looking around. What random spare parts can I to fill out my team, and at that then you're gonna have a lot of wasted money and wasted keepers. So just make your life easy. Do the 5 years for Drake May. Then you just need to find 2 more players, and you're done there. So I think that's the right move forward. Is just save yourself from that wandering eye that you're gonna get when you've got empty spots that need to be filled.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I think for other teams, you could trust them to kind of find like the Dak Prescotts of the off season that you could kind of scoop up cheap. But it does seem like when Mars gets some bold ideas like to pick up keepers in the off season, more often than not, we are seeing some of the Braylon Allenses and the less smart keepers and kind of like letting the heart take over. So for other teams, I don't think locking yourself into that much of your like keeper allotment into one guy is that good. But your point is basically that for Mars, it's better so he has less chances to make those mistakes that could be negative contracts that he's trying to like move and stuff like that, right?
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. I think there's too much danger when you've got just looking at his roster now, it's like if
Yeah,
you
yeah,
Henderson
yeah.
probably keep, and I don't know, and then after that it's just like a lot of I don't
Yeah,
know where he's
keep it
going.
simple.
Keep it simple.
yeah, yeah, you keep the price low, and this guy definitely seems a lot better than a Justin Fields or something. So, yeah, I definitely see that side of it. Okay, so the next topic, um, this kind of ties into like manager skill a little bit, I guess. So, the topic is through 10 weeks, who is your pick for manager of the year? And what is the auction draft selection or rookie draft pick or waiver wire addition or even trade that best supports your choice for manager of the year? Alex, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a duo of Orange County for manager of the year so far. I
Hmm.
think there's a few obviously big moves this year. It's been a year of big moves, but the real move that's the manager of the year move happened last year, which was keeping JSN
Mm,
and giving him that 2 year contract. And now we're seeing that that thing is just paying dividends like
yep.
crazy. And I don't think anyone else in the league would have said like that's my
Hmm.
guy. I'm keeping him for 2 years after his rookie year when he really just had 1 or 2 good games
Hmm.
and almost nothing else. And so I think having the confidence to go with that decision, and now you get paid off with wide receiver one and potentially for a few more years after this one. That's the move that
Mm.
really cements it for me.
Mike?
Let me show some love to Jay. Coming off a championship when usually your team would be experiencing a letdown because of a low rookie draft pick and potentially fewer keepers, he uh, he's used the underrated veteran
Mm.
strategy. Veterans who are cast off from their teams in the NFL and who were overlooked in the HFFL draft. Devontae Adams, Rico Dowdle, Travis Etienne. These are guys, a lot of people who are completely staying away from them
Hmm.
and going out on a limb to go get Patrick Mahomes. But I'll give you the number one managerial decision that I give him credit for, which is that he picked up the Jets defense,
Hmm.
started them, and got double-digit points. That's a miracle.
That is tough, especially like right
Very,
after
very
they traded away like basically all their big name
Mhm.
defensive players. Like, I don't care what the matchup is. Like, I do agree that that's not an easy decision to make, and probably one that a lot of teams would have stayed away from. But ultimately, it did get him, a pretty close win against, a team that put up not that many points last week. But like you can still lose those, and like not being able to make those kind of like out of the box decisions sometimes can cost you a lot of those. So, like he's definitely not got like the strongest team on paper, but I do think he's been pretty resourceful with the resources he's at. And JSN is, I think, a really good highlight. Everyone points to the Jonathan Taylor trade and Dak Prescott trade. Those are obviously very very strong moves, but you're right that JSN, a lot of people kind of had him pegged to have like kind of hit a ceiling or kind of not be that like top premier type keeper, and it took some conviction from him to keep him for 2 more years, and definitely been one of their strongest performers this year, and I think.
The other one to call out, I think, because it's in the same vein, it's like taking bets on talent and not
Hmm.
opportunity. And I think picking Judkins, obviously, wound up trading
Yep.
Judkins, but then having that chip to trade. I think picking Judkins when he was unsigned,
Yep. Yep.
didn't know people didn't know if he was going to even play this year. And it's
Hmm.
like saying like, well, screw it, I don't care about the opportunity. It's all about the talent, and
Yep.
seeing that there, you know,
Yeah.
definitely a very off meta strategy, but a good one right now.
Yeah, yeah. On the whole, yeah, I'm leaning towards Duo as the manager of the year. But there are basically moves for every team where you're like, oh wow, that was like a really sharp move. Like even the teams that aren't doing that well, like they all have like one or two moves where you're like, oh okay, like that took a good amount of like conviction and like going against like what everybody thought that I think has paid off for a lot of people. So it really does show how strong our league is from top to bottom. Like Duo, didn't have the strongest year last year, but even he can just turn it around and have a year where a lot of his like moves show foresight and they're not just like luck and like they paid off a lot. So yeah, I think both of those are pretty good choices. And the last topic I have for us, this one's a little bit less positive, I guess, but something I think we should talk about. Looking at the rosters, matchups, and remaining schedules for all the teams, which two teams do you have finishing in the 9-10 seats? Which is relevant because those two teams will not have a chance to play for consolation bracket prize, and they will, uh, more likely be trying to dodge the penalties of any sort. So, Mike, you want to lead us off on this one?
Yeah, I think the one we'll agree on is that my team will be ninth or 10th. But the question is, which of the other lower teams will finish in that other spot? And I'm gonna go against Chu here. Um, I say his team is gonna finish ninth. He still has to face
Mm-hmm.
Virginia and Orange County this year.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, two excellent teams. Jackson Dart is injured. He's dealing with a concussion
Mm,
protocol. Um, and this team relies heavily on the Bears offense.
mm.
And I will bet against the Bears 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. So, Chew, you're ninth for me.
Yeah, Alex, what's your
Nice.
take?
Yeah. So I'm gonna take LIC for 10th. I think this team is just gutted.
Mm,
I think it's probably a lot of 120-point weeks
mm,
coming up here. So I could see them easily going 0-3 down the stretch here. And then the last spot, I'm gonna say Harlem makes a run, and New England ends up getting
mm.
swept out of the last 3 games. They have a tough schedule down the stretch. They've got Orange County this week, then Harlem in week 12, and then Virginia week 13. Mars week
Mars,
13.
right?
Yeah.
Their
Mars week
last
13.
game.
Sorry about that. But yeah, it could get swept out. End up with 4 wins. Harlem wins
The tiebreak,
the
yeah, the
tie
head to
break
head,
because they
yep.
win that one. And so I could see LIC ending stuck on 3 wins, and then New England stuck on 4 wins, and that ends up being 9-10 there.
Yeah, I think those are all good points because on paper, Williston Park does have the tough schedule. Yonkers, Virginia, Orange County, those are all either really good teams or teams that are
Mhm.
playing
Yeah,
for,
plus plus.
yeah, very good positioning. So, even if Williston Park is a pretty decent team, just the schedule might kind of be too rough for them to make it out of there. And yeah, LIC, I think this is 2 weeks in a row that they've had the lowest score, so there definitely is a argument that their team is more gutted than a lot of the teams around them who sold, I think, a little bit less than they did. So that I think that could easily play out. But I think it's really hard to call because week to week, like it's the 2 seed, the 3 seed, and like the 10 seed are basically like the same level of difficulty to face, I think. So like even with certain schedule differences and stuff, like you could easily see the lower ranked team win some of those and vice versa. And I think another interesting thing is Mars does play New England in week 14, but that's with their whole New England contingent out. So not
Good point.
exactly the same New England, I mean Mars team that they're facing. So that could actually make a big difference in the last week, I think, too. So uh all interesting choices, I think, all pretty valid. I disagree with Harlem that they're destined for 10th. I think their team is still got pieces. It's just been pretty miserable with luck. So I could see any configuration of those teams ending up in that spot. Okay, so that's it for our topics. The next segment, I guess, is kind of the odds maker section. I'll give you you know an item or something that could happen this year, and you'll each give your odds percentage from 0 to 100, or maybe 10,000 or negative 500, whatever you want. You give your odds on what you think the chances of that event happening are. So we'll just move straight on into our first one. And the first one I have odds on is okay. Number one, odds that Virginia passes Orange County for the total points crown. I believe it is pretty close. I will look that up for you to
Yeah,
see.
it's about 50. It's about 50 points different.
50. Okay, yeah.
52, I think.
Right. 52, and Virginia has won 3 straight Hamilton. So, uh, Mike, first, yeah, what do you think the odds are that Virginia passes OC over the last 3 regular season matchups for the points crown?
Yeah, you know what? I'm leaning towards OC on this one. Give me 30%.
Hmm.
I think Jamar Chase is gonna blow up as he always does. He's got 2 games against Baltimore coming up, and he always plays well against them. But I have no faith in Justin Jefferson. That
Hmm.
that offense is unwatchable. And yeah, I think OC is gonna hold on.
Okay, Alex, what do you
I
think?
agree. I agree. I agree. OC's going to hold on. I'm still like a little bearish on the Virginia team. I mean, I
Hmm.
know I've made this point last week a bit about the quarterbacks, but
What's your
I just
percentage?
don't.
You got to give a percentage first.
Yeah, percentage. I'm gonna say 10%. So
Okay.
they have to win by about they have to average about 13 a week to by
Hmm.
winning by 13 a week. I say about 10%.
Okay. Fair, fair. Okay. Some Virginia non-believers a little bit, but I kind of think I tend to agree. Um, okay, our next one is of the teams that are still alive but 5-5 or under, which is Madison, Mars, and New England. What are the odds that any one of them make the playoffs this season? Alex, you want to go first?
Oof. 12 and a half.
Oh, 12 and a half.
1 out of 8.
You don't believe in any
A
of
lot of
their
things a lot of things have to go right.
yeah, yeah.
It's just a lot of moving pieces
That's fair. Last week was a pretty big blow to any of that
to
happening.
chaos.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even one other out would have made it a lot more interesting, but
Yeah.
12 and a half
Yeah.
could.
Jacobs catches that screen pass. We got a
Yeah,
whole different thing
yeah,
happening here.
yeah. Or even, maybe LIC plays Parker Washington if they got him. That could have swung another matchup
Yeah.
too. So we Team Chaos did not really have a good weekend last week. Diaz, what is your percent that one of those 3 teams makes playoffs?
Yeah, give me a 17% chance
Okay.
because it's going to have to be Josh Allen doing it
Mm,
for Mars. The
Mm.
challenge is the New England Patriots are going to be playing a loyalty game. They refuse to play against New England in Week
mm.
14, and that's the game he's going to need
Ah,
to win.
that's a interesting thing if it has any impact on that. Okay, so then the next question. Odds that Lamar Jackson is with the New England Kingfishers in Week 1 of 2026. They haven't played a single season for a different team. Does it hold till next year? Diaz, you want to go first?
Yeah, give me a 99% because there is a 1% chance that Bonky wins the lottery and moves to Aruba and retires from the league.
That's the 1% chance. Okay.
Yeah.
Alex,
Ugh.
what is your read?
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say 25%.
Hmm.
I
Wow.
think the time is coming. I think this is a bit of a burn year, kind of a down year for Lamar, down year with the injuries
All
and
right.
stuff. I think maybe just time for something different. I think New England will say, you know what, I'm ready to try something different.
Okay. Wow. That is pretty high, and yeah, I think at some point, like it's gonna come to a year where I think it gets hard for them to keep committing, and like yeah, I'd be interesting to see if next year is the year. Okay, our next odds that Kyle Monangai is kept by any team in the next offseason. Alex, are you a Monan guy, or are you
I kind of am. Hi.
What's your percentage? Sorry, it cut out.
75%.
75. Oh wow, that's pretty high. So you think they don't bring in a better running back, or you think he just finishes strong? You
I
think
think there's a good chance he's at least in a 50-50 situation. I think he can catch, he can run. I think it seems like Ben Johnson likes him. I think he's at least in a 50-50, and there's a high scoring offense, and a bad defense. So it feels like worth a shot at what's going to be a $9 or $10 contract.
right? Somebody will find value in it, even if it's not
I
specifically.
think so.
Yeah, okay. What about you, Mike? What's your percent?
I'm going 15. So if
Oh,
he's in a situation where he's keepable,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think LIC will trade him, right?
Mm,
They if
mm.
they like him, they will throw him back and try to draft him.
Interesting wrinkle.
They're very clear about that as a
Yep.
strategy.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
And I don't think that he's going to be in a good enough situation to earn a spot on their roster, which
Mm.
obviously has been stacked with keepers because of their deadline deal. I think that they will hang on to Monongai, they will throw him back in, and they will bid on him in the auction.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really interesting point. I think Harlem themselves have kind of been burned by, uh, trading away excess keepers that sometimes the return probably wasn't worth it for, how much value they give to other teams, right? Like, Dak might not have been in the consideration, but that's certainly one player that you might have felt better about just throwing back instead of, I'm not sure what the return was, but just an example. But
Yeah,
like the
should have made Duho pay for him
right, right, yeah.
in auction budget. Yeah.
I think that is definitely something that a lot of teams do think about, and LIC does strike me as a team that could play it that way for sure. So yeah, I think that's pretty sharp. Also, I think there's still, even if Monangai does play well, I think there's a chance that they draft um somebody at running back, which could make him a little bit more, on the border of whether he's keepable or not, whether he has a strong end of season or not. So that's also, I think, something that
It is
could.
Ben Johnson after
It
all.
is
I
Ben
don't think he
Johnson.
has a
Yeah,
reputation for a bell cow.
he does love. Yeah, he does love investing into running backs. So I would be surprised if they don't do anything in the draft next year. And the last question, okay, so this is something based on history. So 2022 Nana division versus Popo division win totals. 2022 was 32 to 33. Popo won that year. But then 2023 was 35 to 30. So Nana won by 5. 2024 was 36 to 29. So Nana won the win total battle by 7. And through 10 weeks, the win total for each division is Nana division 29 and Popo division 21. So that's actually a bigger gap than any of the previous years. So what are the odds that Nana division exceeds 36 wins this year, which is the high point of the disparity throughout this iteration of the divisions. Diaz, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull in a Donde here and give you a 50% chance because
We don't
I don't even know what division
famously
I'm in.
famously do not love 50%. It's a cop out. It's a cop out answer, but yeah. So
Question is too complicated
too
for me.
complicated, too much of a lead up. Fair, fair.
You got to call NASA for this one.
I just wanted to point out that yeah, Nana division has been winning these comparisons, I guess, year to year for a while now, and it seems like it's another year where Nana division has the stronger teams, at least in terms of wins and losses. So yeah, like just wanted to point out, it's been the stronger division by a good amount for the last 3 years, and I wanted to see if you think it would continue. Alex, do you have a percent other than 50% for this?
Yeah, I'm gonna say about 80%. I
Mm-hmm.
think, only have to go 500
Yep,
if I'm doing the math right.
yep, you are.
Go 500 from here. I think, just when you look at the strength of the teams, I think the stronger teams are in the are on one side of the thing. So I think there's a good chance in these last, whatever it is, 8 head-to-head
He
games
doesn't
that it's
even
gonna.
know the divisions either.
I don't. I
What'd you say? It cut out for me. Sorry.
which division. I just don't know which is called Nana and which is called
Yeah, yeah.
Popo.
We are the Nana division. This was actually
Okay.
we got split into the slightly weaker division because I split teams based on 1 to 10 ranking, and I split them kind of like serpentine style, but um by like average placement out of the 10, Nana was actually half a spot lower because one team has to be a little bit lower. But the last 4 years, it's interesting because I think Virginia has one championship, New England has one championship, and Yonkers has one championship. So there's an argument that maybe it's just more top heavy in Popo, or like I just been more bad luck, I think, plaguing some of the teams in Popo. But it is pretty interesting that it's gotten more and more severe, the disparity. And last year I think 3 teams tied for like a 6-7 record in our division. So it was definitely pretty tough to count any of them out because they were all trying to like get into the playoffs. Even Madison, who we did kind of like count out after his trade last year, I think in large part made it because a lot of the divisional matchups elsewhere kind of went bad for the teams that were like 1 game ahead of them at the trade deadline. So it definitely is, I think, pretty tough, and Orange County making it from the bottom to the top, I think, shows how this division really flips up and down. But yeah, so this is the last year of division, so it should be interesting to see what the next division split looks like. I'll kind of outline what it's looking like going into playoffs, just so we know like what outcomes can swing positions and stuff. But it should be pretty refreshing to get a new division configuration. Okay, so yeah, Tony Reale picks a winner, but I honestly don't know how to pick a winner, so I'm just gonna say both of you guys did I think a really good job with the odds maker. Some pretty
Oh, that's like saying
That
50%.
that is the 50, the J.A. Adande. So I'm gonna give it to Alex just for not having a 50%. But I think yeah, we cover some interesting topics based on some speculation, some stuff on what's going on in this season. Really really good I think points made by both of you. Alex actually brought up a kind of suggestion for a future show that I think will be actually really interesting to do. Could be in a different format for sure, probably. But he said that we should kind of basically redo the draft or re-examine the draft from last year, the rookie draft from last year, because there are a lot of players that are really good keepers right now, or very relevant players like Drake May, obviously being one of them that came from last year's draft, and some pretty big like kind of bust type players too, like Marvin Harrison was the first pick last year, right? So yeah,
That's
like
right.
definitely should be interesting to kind of recover how that draft will play out now, especially because there are so many meaningful players from that draft. So I don't know if it's going to be next week, but I do want to, kind of put that on the calendar. And if anyone's interested in specifically kind of weighing in on that, feel free to reach out, and I can come up with either a format or just a group of people that we want kind of talking about that sometime in the near future. So yeah, that was our second episode of CTI, Condone the Interjection. Doesn't roll off the tongue like pardon the interruption, but yeah, I think it was really fun. Do you guys have anything to say on your way out? Any shout outs or anything you wanted to kind of highlight before we close out today, Mike?
Yeah, it's funny to see how moves not made. sometimes there's moves that you didn't make, players you didn't draft,
Mm-hmm.
that clearly the universe doesn't realize that you didn't do that. Before the deadline, I tried to acquire Garrett Wilson, and clearly the universe thinks that he's on my team. So apologies to Warren.
There was enough of like the intent and thought was put into the universe that it accidentally triggered the Harlem curse onto poor Garrett Wilson. So yeah, I think you do need to do some kind of ritual in the off season. The luck, has been kind of outrageous over the last 3 years, and it seems to be escalating more than de-escalating. So I think it should be a good off-season exercise to kind of think of something, meaningful and funny to kind of try to shed that. So, Alex, you have any last parting words?
No, thanks for setting it up. Super fun show. And yeah, shout out Diaz for the 17% on Josh Allen. Super clever. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's a good one.
yeah.
You're my winner for coming up with that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
So yeah, thanks for being on. Maybe we'll try to do, one or two of these more before the end of the season. But I really love the take and energy you guys brought to the table. And signing off. Peace.
Later.